Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the garden. Today is going to be a discussion on medicinal plants, the importance of allowing plants to be medicinal and speak to us through other ways than consumption, and the applicable importance of having a teacher plant and how to figure out what your primary teacher plants are. And we'll have this discussion here around the calendula garden, this bed of calendula flowers. I get this calendula specifically from a particular seed seller, and I'll link that below because I can't think of the name right now. But calendula as a medicine is very beneficial in reducing inflammation, eliminating itch and rash. And these are more topical, three-dimensional, tangible ways to access the medicine inside of calendula. And what I will do is, probably in the next day or two, cut the heads off here, maybe down a little bit, while they are blooming, and this is how I'll harvest the flowers. Hello, Miss Maple. Hi, baby. Just an offshoot. Last night I was laying out here under the stars, and the lightning bugs were just going wild. It was just amazing. And I could hear her go into at least 5 different spots in the yard, giving a hard time to some sort of rodents. So she's definitely doing her job. Thanks, Maple. Okay, so back to the calendula. I will harvest the heads a couple of times throughout the summer season, the growing season, and let them dry. And then at the end of the growing season, when they have been all spent and I have harvested all the heads that this beautiful plant will give me, I will make an oil out of her. And with the dried heads, I'll put it in a large ball jar with a kind of oil that I trust. I sometimes use sweet almond oil, or you can use jojoba. Make sure that you bless the oil and that it comes from an earth-loving company. We're all doing our best, so as best as you can. And then I just let her really steep for about 3 months, and then you have all of the medicinal properties, the tangible medicinal properties inside of the oil. And I will often do this alongside the lavender. Let's just take a peek here. I have French lavender and lady lavender, and I can't decide which one I like most. Both scents are amazing. But lavender and calendula will be... I have this one little calendula here. Let's sit with her for a second. Is typically my go-to blend for skin healing for myself and for others, and I make this and I sell it. You can also dry and take it for tea, because aside from the skin salve for itches and rashes and other even blemishes, you can dry these and drink them as tea, and that's a medicine as well for soothing the belly, the digestive system, and as just like a balancing medicine in your tea at night, paired well with chamomile. So that is the physical way to accept calendula as a medicine. However, there are other ways to access the medicine of plants, particularly here, talking to calendula and lavender, because medicine is not just what we can touch and taste and consume. Medicine is actually all around us. There is a medicine inside the architecture of the garden, outside of the physical fruits that it offers. And this is really, I don't want to say a lost art of relating to our world, but let's just call it back today, and invite it to come back as a primary way of relating to nature, the medicine of just the intelligence of nature, the intelligence of this flower. And the way that we do that is through very simple, accessible practices of sitting, being quiet, opening our hearts, and allowing our minds time to hop off the rolling narrative that we understand as reality, right? We can hop off of the narrative, the story, our typical way of reasoning, and that is the essential part in being guided in these higher ways to higher intelligence and higher information. It's within the mind and the body that we are meant to draw things down into a narrower perspective. That's what its point is. That's not an insult to the mind and the body. It's just honest. And in some cases here on earth in this life, we need to be with a situation. We need answers. We need understanding and perspective that goes beyond our present narrative, how we've been taught to decide what something means. We need to go beyond even sometimes the words, because words have different meanings and can often be influenced to us. Words will inform us differently based on what our ego is presently doing in a situation or the perspective we're standing in. So when we sit with a plant and we just be quiet and we allow the essence of the flower. What is the essence? It is all the things that this flower is without parceling them out, without making it all, with remembering that it's not arbitrary, that this flower grows tall, skinny, yellow, that it's good for the stomach, that it faces the sun. And sometimes we cannot find what it's trying to tell us when we are speaking words inside of our own mind. So we sit and we meditate. And it is sure that she'll have something to say to you. So lavender has been, there's a hot dog plant. Oh yeah. If you joined me yesterday, and since yesterday, look at this. Boom. All the summer squash. I hope my neighbors are interested. Lavender. Let's pick some of these onions out of the way. Lavender. Hello, beautiful. She's about to flower. So lavender also has healing properties. It's soothing. But lavender is really interesting. It actually lives within its essence very clearly. It is good for the senses. It's good for the belly to drink. It's anti-inflammatory. It's good for the skin, but it also really resides in the subtler sense of smell, which is a segue into the ever more subtler senses. And I heard this gentleman say once, in a podcast, I really resonated with him when he said he kept referring to humans as a 12-sense being. And I honestly think that there's more than that, but it opens up the conversation, the dialogue. It removes the old reasoning, the old paradigm, the old parameters around what senses are, what it means to sense something. And lavender really does that. It is actually a wonderful plant in that it captures all of our physical senses, right? It grabs the obvious, and then it draws us deeper into the subtle, slowly through the scents. And then there is a knowledge there. There is a knowledge because lavender its purpose, its clear directive is to quiet down. It asks us to calm down. Lavender is associated with calm. You get it in you smell it in spas and stuff. So lavender, beautiful plant, is calm. It asks us to shh, be quiet. And so lavender was my teacher plant, meaning it had great messages for me. It actually, when I sat with it, when I was confused and I couldn't necessarily hear beyond what my inner dialogue was saying, I would sit with lavender, I would smell it, I would hold it, or I would look at it, and embrace the subtler qualities of lavender. Excuse me. And she would help me understand a situation that I did not understand yet. And so that is what a teacher plant offers us. And we often have many teacher plants. So how do you find your teacher plant? Let's go to the other lavender. How do you find your teacher plant? This is very simple, and this is the wonderful thing about nature. Nothing is too hard to understand. Nature really... I'm gonna have to thin these things out and let my lavender grow. You don't have to shake nature for it to give you the answers. It's very simple, and it resides within you. And the answer is, what are my favorite plants? What am I naturally drawn to? What are the plants that I like to visually look at or smell? Because this is how a plant relates to us. This is how we recognize our friends again in this lifetime. Something about them just resonates. And that is the first and most beautiful, freeing step into unlocking your intuition and remembering the depth, remembering the nuance, being able to capture the nuance. Follow your intuition. What am I drawn to in nature? This doesn't always work because sometimes I'm drawn to donuts. But here we are, sitting with my teacher plant. I love her so much because she has really, so subtly, shown me the truth behind many things that I could not see in the dense, rolling narrative of what my ego or the world, machine, or the problem at hand was saying to me. I hope this is helpful. If you have any thoughts, what are the plants that you connect to? What are the pieces of nature? Is it an oak tree? Because that's another one of my teacher plants. And I'm pretty sure that tarragon is coming around for me as well. She's got some things to say. I hope this brings you closer to nature, closer to your intuition, closer to how you relate in a practical way with your reality. I hope this brings you back closer to beauty, to trust, and to clarity that ultimately this reality has available to us. It's not all confusing. It's not all words and thoughts and conflicting information. It's not. That's there for us because we're here to be challenged and transformed, to choose. But there are friends here to help us. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Blessings.